Hey guys, Jason Christie here. We're on Lake Fork. It's middle of October. Things are cooling off, topwater fishing's heating up. One of the questions I get asked a lot is, what makes you throw a popper one day and a spook another day? On a day like today, you know, it's flat, the water's a little off color. The dirtier the water gets, the more I like a popper. Just I feel like that sound, that bloop, 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 will call them up. Another thing I like about it, you know, like here I'm fishing around structure, docks, you know, bushes and that kind of stuff. I'm able to work that bait by that piece of structure and kill it. You know, almost let it set and kind of keep it in that strike zone for a while, and it looks natural versus what a spook would look like. You know, just something about late fall, whenever you get that, you know, that chugging sound. There's a lot of, this time of year, there's usually a lot of schooling taking place, and I just feel like it calls them in from a further distance than just a regular spook. But you notice here I'm using a small popper. Usually I use a 65. This one's a smaller size, and it's just because, you know, a lot of the bait that I'm seeing is real small. And the fall is the time of year when these fish, you got to remember, have seen baits all year long. They're educated and they're really keyed in on this smaller bait. So you really got to try to match what the bait looks like. There's really not a wrong way to fish this thing. You know, my favorite is like there's a piece of structure right there. I want to be real crazy and fast getting up to it and kill it just for a second and then bring it again. And 9 times out of 10, whenever you start that second, you know, going fast again, that's when they're going to get it. I think they can't stand it whenever they feel like the bait's going to get away from them. And they'll tell you, I mean, if they hit it on the pause, you know, a guy probably needs to pause it a little more. If they hit it whenever it's going fast, then you probably need to keep it moving. And every day can be different. You know, the thing that happens with topwater fishing, and it doesn't matter if it's a frog, a popper, a spook, it doesn't matter. There's 2 different kind of bites you get. You get the bite that they're trying to eat the bait, they're actually feeding, and then you get the reaction bite that a lot of times if you watch them in deep water, they'll come up and hit the bait and not even have their mouth open. And that's, you know, I kind of reference that bite to, you know, say you're sitting in your recliner and in the house and a wasp falls at you. I mean, you're just swatting at it. You're trying to get it out of your personal space, and that's what these fish do a lot. I mean, a bass is an aggressive creature and it has its own personal space. So more times than not, if they're biting like that, you know, just a reaction, that I want to try to get away with the bait that has treble hooks on it, because then you at least have a chance, you know, for them to hook them in the side. I mean, in the side of the face. You know, you got 6 hooks versus 2 maybe in a frog. It's really key to pay attention, because a lot of times if they're hitting it with their mouth closed, maybe it's a bait change. Maybe you need to go to a little smaller bait or a little bigger bait or a quieter bait or a louder bait. You know, I can remember an instance where, this has been 5 or 6, 7 years ago, I fished up in a creek, and it's a creek that I know there's a lot of fish that live in, and I was throwing a popper, and I went up it, and I remember getting 6 or 7 bites, and I never caught a fish. Like, they'd blow up on it, they'd knock it out of the water, and when I got to the back of the creek, I turned around and came out with a spook, and I caught like 10, and every one of them had it perfect sideways in their mouth. And I mean, why? I can't tell you that, I can't answer that, but I do know that that day they wanted a spook more than they wanted a popper. It's just things like that the guy has to experiment with every day.